Hi. Welcome to Chaos. I've got a jar of peanuts, salted peanuts, that I'm eating with a spoon. I've got a half a liter jar of raspberry syrup. And I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to put this all together and make it make sense. But what I'm doing today is basically taking a box of stock Monster High dolls and making them ready to be customized, or preparing them to be customized. And I just went and washed them all, and now it's time to do my least favorite part, which is scraping the hair into the head. And I've got about 20 heads right here, so strap in. And I'm just gonna sit here and chat with you. This is gonna be quite casual. This is prepping for mostly my June project, which is gonna be a pride project, and it's still developing. Let's lay out all our heads. We've got Scara. We've got Claudine, that I'm not sure if I was the one who nipped her ear, but she's missing chunks off of both of her ears. Maybe someone bit at her. Another Claudine. I think this is 13 Wishes. No idea which one this one is. I think this is the one where they merge together. Freaky Fusion. Scara. We've got a very pretty Draculaura. Maybe the prettiest screening in the whole bunch. And I did a bit of a bad job trimming off the hair. We've got this random Deuce that did not come with a lot. We've got Freak to Chic Honey Swamp. Freshwater Laguna, a G2 Laguna, which I think it's so funny holding them next to each other. It's like they blew her up like a balloon. We've got two Venuses. The other one will appear. We've got a Twyla, who looks a bit stained. We've got a Freak to Chic Toralei. I think this is the sports spectra. This Frankie, which is also so pretty. Freak to Chic Frankie, who's got a case of the Wong. Gloom Beach Cleo. Kiyomi. I'm excited about this one. We've got this Draculaura, which seems well underway to being customized somehow. Someone already took out all her hair, but also I don't know why her head is so hard. And then we've got another Venus and 3 Ever After High heads. Raven, I think this might be Duchess Swan, I'm not sure, and Maddie. And these are for another project, but we're just gonna sit here and try and get all the hair out of them. My last video was part 1 for my mermaid project, which I should get on, by the way. And that video was maybe one of my most efficient videos yet. And so I haven't gotten to chat in a while. So I'm thinking this is a good moment for that. So sit back, grab some snacks, and hang out with me, or I'll see you in the next video if you're not interested in this. However, if you're not interested in chatting, you may be on the wrong channel, because I will yap. Nothing can stop me. I just yap less sometimes. But so how I'm doing. Yesterday night, I uploaded my very vulnerable post on Instagram. If you don't follow me there, it's charlie.b.dollies. I posted about selling all my dolls and the reason for it and the fears that come with I'm not selling all of my dolls because I don't want them. I'm selling them because I need other things more than I need my dolls, and it's come to a point that I'm needing to choose. And it was really scary, to be honest, to be vulnerable like that. Ow, I just poked myself. By the way, I'm doing this in gloves because the glue is nasty and gross, and I don't want that on my hands. I wrote the post and did all the designing and such, and then I I like wrote the post first and then tried to fit it all together into a cohesive little set of slides. And I added this very vulnerable rant in the comments and the caption. And when I finally posted it, I literally put my iPad away for the night. I have my notifications off on all social media because they will just stop me from living my life. And also I have myself locked out of Instagram on my phone most of the time. So it's quite good to be able to put away social media like that. But now it was really a thing of just like, how is this gonna go? Because I'm trying to learn to be more vulnerable, but that doesn't mean it's not scary, you know? But the response has been amazing and lovely, and just there's such an outpouring of support. Everyone who sees it seems to be sharing my stories, and I'm finding new people, and people are reaching out saying, hey, I don't have the money, but I would be buying. I've had a couple people saying, hey, is this still available, which is exciting. Yeah, we'll see how it goes, because if this goes well, that just soothes so many of my worries. In the short term, of course, I still have long-term problems, but to have my short-term problems like solved like that, it makes a huge difference. And now I'm going to switch to both a time-lapse and a voiceover for a little bit. This video is going to be a mix between voiceover and like live talking, like the clip before. I don't know if this is like exciting for people, but I always think it's kind of satisfying to watch the glue being peeled out, even though doing it kind of sucks. But I'm now recording this end of June, and I have the most fantastic news, which is that I'm more financially stable than I've been in the past year because of people buying my dolls. Special thanks to Emily, who has bought more than I would ever have even expected. But so I can keep going doing my thing. I have another job as well that isn't doll related, but I'm living off of my dolls right now, and that is just ridiculously exciting, and it's just genuinely the coolest thing. Okay. This is my box of heads. And oh, I didn't empty this one out. Girl, are you kidding me? Oh my god, okay. I think all of them except that one are empty. That's the chaos. Yeah, I think all the rest of them are empty. I want to make a pride project, and I guess this might be part one. I'm not sure if I will post this as one big project or make 4 separate dolls. I think I'll make 4 because we have 4 weeks. I think that might work. It's Monday today, so then by Sunday I should have the first one done. Let's see if that works. During this month I'm also working on my first commission, so it's gonna be busy. But let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can get away with. I literally just finished my mermaid 2 days ago, so and I would love to also finish my other works in progress in the meantime too. We've got Claudia, we've got this very silly doll, we've got my mini-me. We'll see how it goes. So actually what I'm going to do is I have my box of bodies, and I actually have a good couple of complete bodies. So I think I would like to work with those. First of all, I've got a complete, well, the neck peg is somehow not in here, but I've got a Scara body, which is very unstained. I would love to work with her and keep her as Scara maybe, because she's such a cool character. I've got a complete, or not complete, but I've got a Toralei who is missing just her tail, and her hip is a bit funny, but and I was thinking she could be one of her first ones. I'm wanting to make some dolls based off of pride flags, and I have some pink hair And then with our orange skinned girl, I think this could be so good. I think this could be perfect. So that is what I'm thinking for the first one. Then, because I'm doing the lesbian flag, I think I want to do the gay flag, but the rainbow I think is a bit despicable. I think this is just, like, it's a beautiful flag, but I don't think it's a nice color scheme to work with. This, however, rocks. This is great. And I've got this Laguna that I think I have a complete body for. Yep, I do. However, I love this color on Laguna, so I'm considering whether I might want to keep it for another project, but maybe that's unnecessary. I can use this one for my own project and then use that one for the Pride project, maybe, because this is also a complete Laguna. Of course, they're missing their fins, but this doll is also fully complete, so maybe that's my personal Laguna. And she has the G2 body, which is actually nicer, in my opinion. And then we're getting a bit tricky. I've got a Kiyomi. Ooh. I've got a Kiyomi. That could be the trans flag. Baby blue. Wait, let's... Okay, the blue in the trans flag is a lot darker than her, but could be, good option. And then, do I have any more complete bodies? Okay, I have a Venus. I have a Venus with... That could be a pretty good option, but then what flag? I have a Venus, I have a Frankie, and... Oh, I have a Claudine. Okay. And then I have a Cleo that's missing one arm. Actually... Oh no. I have a Cleo that's missing an arm, and then a second mummy arm that's on the same side, which is just epic. So we've got, wait, which one is that? We've got some with some green in it, but it's more of this green than the Venus green. So the aromantic, agender, polysexual, pansexual. No, pansexual doesn't work with any of these. I was thinking I'd do a bisexual, but we don't have any purples. I think we go with Claudine and just give her bisexual hair. And I have this one, which has some holes in her head, or some holes in her ears. So I think I'll use this one instead. Oh, but she has been chewed on, which is really cool. Or like sliced at. She has been chewed on. Oh my god. Okay, maybe not. I don't want to pull the non-binary trick of having pieces stitched together. That's corny. I think I want to work with Venus. Like, we could go aromantic. I think aromantic is not too bad of a color scheme. Yeah, maybe. Okay. These are the colors I can use for Torelei. Wonderful. Perfect. And then for Laguna, we have those. Right, we have some white here that might be nice to just add a little streak. We've got this pink that might go nice on the trans flag. And I have this white, which is quite short, but I think I could use it. Right, that goes with Kiyomi. I think that'll look pretty. I think that'll look nice. So we'll go full nylon for Kiyomi. So for two of them, I will use Saran, and I will use a little blend of these colors all together. I was going to use these for Rochelle, but I guess it works better here. And this actually makes me really happy that I always save all of my hair. No. Yeah, so this is going to be Toralei for the lesbian flag. This is going to be Laguna for the Men Loving Men flag. Then I think I should have an order coming in for black saran actually. So I will just have this for the aromantic flag and wait for that to come in. And then these three together will be the trans flag. I think that works. The people have voted. And I'm going to make 4 bats. So I'm gonna grab the heads. I'm not sure whether I'll give these dolls outfits. We will think about that. But for now, I'm actually, first things first, I'm going to take these heads and wash them off with hot soapy water because some of them are very sticky from the glue that was on G1 dolls. So I'll be back after doing that. So I had people vote on Instagram. I just asked, how would you feel if I made just a ton of bats? And people were excited to see it. So here we are. And it's partially inspired by Albie, my albino bat doll, which was the first to sell of all of my dolls. And I wanted to make another one, but I also just think bats are fun and cool. And the project I'm making after this one is also a bat. So they all have had their factory paint removed, and now it's time to turn them into, well, okay, step 1 for turning them into bats. And step 1 is that we are going to grab a scalpel and very carefully carve off their noses. I'm very used to working on G3 Monster High dolls, and this plastic feels very different. I think because there's also some sparkles in there maybe, but I'm not sure. I'm so excited. I actually had people on my Instagram vote on what they wanted to see, or whether they wanted to see whether they would be okay with a full collection of pride bats. And the great majority said, yup. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. And so to enable me to turn these girlies into bats, I'm removing their ears. Removing their noses. And after that, I will start making the armature. She looks like an alien. Perfect. And after that, I will be showing you how I build up the armature. It's going to be the same technique as for Una, but I hope it'll still be fun to watch anyways, even if you've seen me do it before. I'm like making a collection of aliens. How silly. And then for Toralei, I'm actually a bit unsure how to handle your ears. I am going to cut the ears off. Oh, I do have an idea. Aliens for Pride, they're actually done. I hope you like them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. And I think at this point I've done a bit of a bad job explaining what I'm doing, but so up until now we've removed the hair, we've cleaned the factory paint off, I've cut off all like unnecessary features, and now I'm using tiny blobs of epoxy sculpt and this sculpting tool, which I don't even know how it came into my possession, but it's been the driving force of this whole project. And I'm using that to make these little bumps on the face, basically on the top of the forehead and on the front where the nose is. And I'm kind of like making some grooves so that it connects to the face in a way that's flush, but I'm also trying to make sure it stays thick enough for me to poke through it and basically make buttons that I'm sewing on. So I'm using a needle to poke holes, and then I'm using the back of the needle to widen the holes. And during this whole process I also made sure I kept the needle wet so that it wouldn't stick to the epoxy sculpt. And I'm making 3 holes on the earpieces and then 4 on the nose piece. So I have the armatures sculpted on, or like I have the buttons that I'm going to sew into the head sculpted onto all of them, and I've used this white jelly roll pen to mark it off so that it doesn't get lost. And now I want to use a ballpoint pen in this little sketchbook to explore what they might look like. I pictured this one has ears kind of like this, and she has quite defined eyelids. I see this little smile. I picture she could be quite cheeky. She could be, she has a bit of an angular face, so let's try and go kind of angular with her bat ears. I'm not looking at specific references right now, but I think at this point I've done enough bat research that I can kind of freestyle it. And then once the design becomes a bit more secure, a bit more like panned out, I think I can go back and add more. So this is the aromantic bat. We've got blacks and greens and white. Oh my god, I made it hard on myself. So let's, for the nose, go like that maybe, like with the point at the top. But then maybe a bit more rounded on top of that. Ooh, I want her to have a side glance. And I think actually I'll make her eyelids a bit more dark. She's the only one that has black in her palette, I think. So I think we should use that. I think maybe I'll do a black underlayer, maybe green on top. I think for the little flap, I'll go kind of fun and curvy, and then, of course. Okay, she looks so cartoonish. This is the aromantic one. Right. This is Laguna, and she has a lot rounder of a face. Still has a little pointy chin, but she has really round cheeks and a bit more pouty of a mouth. And I'm thinking I want to play off of that. I think I want to make her look kind of shocked. I think that'll be really cute. Also because her eyes are so round as well, I think I could be able to like really make her look very like, oh, you know? And I wanted her ears to be very close at the top. And then we can do a little, tiny little tip here at the top. For her hair, oh, I don't know. We'll We'll worry about that later. I think for the ears, it's kind of bunny ears, honestly. And then for nose, I also think we go quite round. Maybe with this little shape on the inside. She looks crazy. I'm not loving the concept sketch, but we'll work on it. Maybe I can find some art that I find interesting. Ooh, okay. I think I would like her to have quite big curly hair. I don't know why my brain is going to Miss Piggy, who is not a man-loving man. And Trixie Mattel, who I think is. So we're going campy, we're going cute, we're going high femme, we're going big curls. And then for the hair blend, I think I will just blend all the colors together. Blend. And then maybe we add a little white streak somewhere, or not. We'll figure it out. Okay. And we have Kiyomi, who has quite a soft face, also quite round cheeks. I always thought she was supposed to be on a little sister body type, but I think that's River and not Kiyomi. I'm gonna round out this, and I would like her to have kind of like sticky outy ears, if that makes sense. And she has these sculpted eyelashes that I actually would like to work with, because I think they're really pretty. And she has a very calm face. Okay, sweetie Kiyomi. And then for her nose, maybe we go quite wide. Yes. We go quite wide. Her upper lip is not that defined. Maybe we can keep it that way. Maybe I can go like this. Ooh, that's cute. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So this is trans. For her hair, I have pink and white. And I was thinking, I'm thinking I could maybe do like a kind of halo hairstyle where the whole, where the edge is one color and the rest is another color, if that makes sense. Start in the middle. And then this just happened in the sketch, but I think it's cute. And then we've got Torlai, who is the sharpest face. And she's also got these very tilted eyes. And quite a mean face almost. So I thought I would give her quite a pronounced Cupid's bow. Widow's peak. And then make her ears kind of bend down. Because I haven't done that. I haven't done any downward pointing ears. Like so, I think. I'm a bit unsure. Actually, maybe we'll curve it around like this. And then it can go like this. Ooh, shapes. Oh, shapes. Okay. And then we immediately have like a kind of shape language that we can continue in her face, which fits with her face as well. I would like to give all of them little fangs, because I think that would be cute. And then we could use another side glance. Let's give her very cheeky. For her hair, I think, ooh, we have a blend for her. I'm not sure. Maybe I do one of those where it's color blocked, kind of, with different colors, and then just wavy on the way down so that the colors can kind of blend nicely. I think that could be cool. And then nose wise, so we've got quite tall, we've got quite soft, we've got quite wide, which this could actually use a little bit more on top, maybe. I think we could do with very pointy, actually. Okay, maybe we do like a little split situation. Ooh, I like her. I didn't color in the nostrils here. Bothering me now. Oh, I like her. Ooh, and then maybe we just add extras on the bottom, but not so much on the top. We've got our lesbians, we've got our trans, we've got our aromantics, and we've got our gays. And it's not everyone, but I'm not going to make more than 4 dolls. I just simply, that's too many. I think right now this one is my favorite, her sketch, but this one is very compelling as well. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, wonderful. I will let these dry and then I will return maybe tomorrow to sew these on already. We'll see. Thanks. All of these clips are so short, I wasn't able to tell you that we were going to do concept sketches, but that's what we just did. We made concept sketches for all 4 of them. And now we're doing the sewing on of the buttons. I'm making air quotes because it doesn't necessarily feel like sewing. Here's the main part. I should have used so many more stitches to attach Toralized like scalp pieces to block off the holes. That's the main thing I learned, but I also learned the best way to go about this, and I'm going to let you know so that you don't suffer my mistakes. Basically, you have the pieces attached to the head, and I drew the little outline with the jelly roll. Then I poke a fine liner through so that I can know where all of the holes are. And I use the back of a needle to fully carve out the hole, because the bit that's flush with the scalp often is quite a small hole. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but like you make sure that the hole is big enough, and then you actually just sew the pieces of thread into the head. I was trying to sew the button on while holding the button to the head. That was quite difficult. I'm calling it a button. I could be calling it a sculpting base. Anyways, I found the easiest way is to just put the thread into the head and then thread the sculpting bases onto the head with the pieces of thread. And then you lift it up a little bit, put glue underneath, squeeze it down, tie a knot. And after doing this, actually 5 times in short succession, this is the best way to do it. It's the least frustrating and it works the best. And you put some glue on the thread as well to make sure it's all sealed. And then here I've actually painted the pattern for their scalps, and I've also picked out outfits for them. But we will get to that in the next video, where we will tailor the outfits to fit nicely, and I'll also give you a thorough tour of what the hair looks like. This is a clip of me rerooting really short hair. This is basically the same as I did in Howleen's video and the axolotl video, but yeah, I used the really short white hair to do the front part of the trans flag doll, and then I'm using the same technique on actually the
lesbian flag and the gay flag as well, because that's all reused around here. But you can see that I'm looping the piece around my finger and then like putting the needle around it, or like putting it through the needle, putting the needle. I hope you saw. You'll see again. Here, let's watch together. So I'm looping it over my finger, then I'm looping the needle through. I'm holding my finger to it and then pulling it so that it has the shortest amount possible on the other end of the needle, and then I'm plunging it into the head. And for the lesbian doll, I just did the tiny bits of color first and then worked up to the larger parts. And now here is another little trick I've done before, but I'll show it again, which is how that I work with my epoxy sculpt when I'm sculpting a lot. I get a bit stressed out if I mix like one big batch at once, so I take equal parts A and B and then roll it into a snake and cut it into equal parts. So here I think we've got 8 parts of each color, and then I have a tiny pre-portioned ball I can quickly mix when I run out, but I'm not under time pressure. And that is just such a needed like reassurance when working with so much sculpting. I did the sculpting for 5 bat faces in a day. Do I recommend this? No. Was I really busy and committed to getting these projects done in time? Yes. Am I learning now that I am able to pay the bills with my art that I am a huge workaholic, especially at the slightest like evidence of success? Yes. Am I seeing my therapist about it? Yes. So don't worry about me. Am I oversharing? I don't know. I hope you're enjoying hanging out with me. So what we've been watching up until now is the sculpting for the gay flag doll. So the one that's inspired by Miss Piggy and Trixie Mattel, loosely, very loosely. You can see how much I'm using this little sculpting tool. It's really just the best. It has like this curved angle on it, and then the bottom of it is really smooth, but then the sides of it can be quite sharp, and then you've got the narrow point and the wide point, and I just use it for everything. And I have a cup of water on the desk to make sure that nothing sticks to the tools, and then I'm just working carefully and slowly and like carving out little edges. I think if I'd have to explain like the how do you say that? The trajectory of the sculpting, first step is I'm squishing blobs onto the sculpting bases and trying to make sure they're properly adhered to each other. And there you could see that I'm trying to be careful to make sure that it doesn't touch the pins at the back, because if the pin becomes embedded into the epoxy clay, that's a big problem. You can see I'm using the sharp edge to kind of carve out this fold, and then I'm using the back. I did this on every single one. I'm using the back to kind of carve in these grooves that bats seem to have in their ears. So after I've squished the blobs onto the sculpting bases, I kind of used my thumb and forefinger to squish it into an ear shape. And the little flap in the front that I think the bats use it to reflect the sound back into their ear. I always put that on as like a last step so that I don't need to worry about squishing it while I'm sculpting the ear. And then for the nose, it's a similar thing of like squishing it on and then squishing it into the right shape, and sometimes I like need to carve some stuff away, and I'm just kind of wiggling stuff around, to be honest. It's really hard to explain what you do with sculpting, but I hope that the footage kind of helps. And I was so tempted to like cut out all of the ugly bits, all of the bits where it just was in such a terrible like weird shape, and I'm sure that I'm meaner to myself about it than you as an audience would be, like, watching this. It's probably just interesting to see the process, but it looked so ugly at some point, and that's fine. The ugly phase is so important. But it was kind of stressful. But I tried to keep it in so that you got, like, a full picture of this, like, sculpting process and this whole project. I'm having to divvy it up into 2 parts because even though we have 4 more days left in June, I have 5 full face paints to do. The fifth one is that I have my first commission, which is so exciting, but it's adding to my workload. And I was a bit ambitious for this project. Who decides to do 4 dolls in a month? Me. And that's fine, and that's okay. But I also had a week where I, short notice, just had to work a ton because, as I said, I found another job as well. It's amazing. Everything is happening for me right now, but it's become so busy. So I've decided I will split this up into 2 parts. So this part, you're just getting to see everything kind of come together. And then in the next part, you'll get to see them really get their personalities and be finished and finalized. And next month actually is going to be quite exciting because I have so many projects that are almost done that you're going to actually possibly get a video every single week, which sounds a bit extreme, and I'm not going to make any promises, but that might happen. Don't be surprised if it does. And now on screen, I am color matching them, not perfectly, and I just did quite a lot of work off screen. So you saw me sculpt the majority of these faces, and you saw a bit of me coloring them, like painting them, matching them. The match isn't perfect, but I've decided it's not necessary to get it perfect, especially if this is just a base coat. And now I've unwrapped all of these little hair burritos, except for this one, so I could show you how it went. And today I'm going to try and see how far I can get with all these reroots so that I can glue them and then put them back on their bodies before I move on with painting their faces. I think I want to do it in this order. So finish the reroot, glue, reattach, boil wash, face. Do the face at the very last point, just in case like something cracks when reassembling or something funky happens. That's the plan. So for this one, the trans flag, we're just going to do full pink all over the head. This is a bit unfortunate. I forgot to cover these holes. We'll see if I care enough to go back and fix that, or maybe the hair will cover it. I wouldn't be surprised if the hair does cover it. Then for the aromantic flag, I've done very little for this one actually, so it'll be a bit, I think I'll be able to do it, but it'll be a bit tricky, like rerooting here with the ears right there. But we're going to do this dark green on the bottom, light green, or we're going to do dark green on the top, light green on the bottom, and then a line of black for the part line. Then for the Men Loving Men flag here, and why that I felt safe to do the reroot after the ears are attached, you can see this cracks out of place, but then because it's sewn in, it doesn't actually go anywhere, so that's okay. And then let's unwrap our Women Loving Women little bundle. My nails are a bit too long to get to the pins, especially with the ears in the way, so I'm just using this little set of tweezers. Oh, and there's a pin there too. This one has, I think, the most hair of all of them already, which is fun. I am so excited to see what she looks like with a boil wash. So for her, it's just going to be all over the place. And I'm a bit stressed about rerooting into these filled up ear holes because I didn't do as neat of a job as I probably should have. Should be all right. So I will just do my rerooting and then we'll do some more painting and I'll be back
with you for the painting.
And here in this last clip, you can see all the reroots are done. I apologize for not filming it, but it would have made this project take even longer. But here's a clip of me reuniting two of the heads with the bodies, and then I'm also gluing the two other heads, which I actually finished rerooting just today, and I'm also fixing some of the cracks with super glue because I rerooted after sculpting, so it cracked. Too bad, it's alright. And this feels kind of amateurish, but another reason I didn't film the reroots is because I'm running out of space on my iPad. I'm having to edit this video because there's no more space for me to hold on to the footage that I'm holding on to. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you had an amazing Pride Month. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're looking forward to part 2, because I am. Okay, bye.
This is the current state of our girls. I'll see you back as soon as possible. It might take me a week or two, but I'll see you back soon to finish this up. For now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a good time. Thanks for hanging out with me. Yeah, see you soon. Bye.